Today I'm doing something very exciting. I started a TikTok series a while ago where I created oil paintings based on random words my followers gave me. And one of them actually turned out to be one of my favorite paintings I created this year. I have high hopes for the painting I will create this time because I have a very cool idea in mind and I really hope I can do it justice. The comment I chose this time was this one right here, which suggested mass, melancholy and timeless. So let's start sketching and see what I can come up with. Alright, so I just sketched down a quick idea for the painting in my sketchbook. I definitely want to include like floating moss islands to give it a magical feeling. For timeless, all of my paintings are timeless, so that one's easy. And for melancholy, I want to paint a person in a cloak sitting on one of those floating islands. And I want to include a bunch of skulls somewhere in the painting because I want it to be kind of creepy, you know? I also did a mock-up drawing in Procreate to test out different color schemes and it looks so cool! However, I don't want to show it to you yet because I think it could be too big of a spoiler for the finished painting. But don't worry. I'm planning on doing a video in the future where I tell you exactly how I use Procreate to plan my oil paintings, and I will show you this exact concept sketch and all the other ones I made for my paintings. Alright, let's get started. The canvas I'm using is 40 by 50 centimeters, which is the same size as the underwater painting I did last time. I did the sketch off camera to save you some time and so that we can get right into painting. The first thing I always like to do is create an underpainting to set the mood for the scene. To do that, you just dilute your paint with the medium of your choice to create that sheer layer of paint. I usually use oil paint for this, but this time I used acrylics because they just dry a lot faster. I like my underpaintings to be completely dry before I put any oil paint on top. I always work really fast when using acrylics because I like to blend them in the end to get a smoother look. Then I use my trusty fluffy brush to blend everything out. Underpainting's all done, so let's get down to business. I like to work from left to right so that I don't accidentally smudge the wet paint with my hand. This painting was really scary because of all the straight lines and I was so scared to ruin it. No, really, the amount of times I thought, that's it, I ruined it, while painting this is actually insane. Something I always preach and then forget to do myself is paint the sides of your canvas. Fun fact, all of my oil paintings have perfectly painted sides except for the one at the bottom, where the canvas sits on the easel. I always procrastinate and say, yeah, I will do that in the future, but will that day ever come? Nobody knows. Maybe in a future video to hold myself accountable. Here you can see very well how I blend my paint on large areas. I just lay down different shades and then blend everything with my fluffy brush. It always works wonders. Painting those trees in the background was the scariest thing of this entire painting process because in order to paint very long straight lines, you need a steady hand, which I don't have. So these were definitely the parts where I thought I'd ruined it. Also, please excuse my face in these clips. I always look so serious when painting, but I'm just really concentrated. Now onto painting some foliage. I think you could say this is the first time. I only did that in watercolor before. Well, now that I think about it, I had an oil painting commission in 2020 where I painted a bunch of trees, but that doesn't count. Let's just say this is my first time painting leaves in oils. Sometimes I just can't help myself but add some details that aren't even in the reference, like these branches on the trees in the background. I think it adds a lot more interest to the area, and I'm so glad I freezed it a little bit. Painting the rest of the branches really transformed the area even more. I had so much fun blending some of the leaves into the wet paint underneath to make them look very soft. Of course, I had to go completely overboard with the details and paint every leaf separately, but I always do that with my paintings and it's part of my art style. I think it looks so funny because the video is so fast, but you have to keep in mind that this painting took about 12 hours in total. Breaking that down into a 10-minute video is really hard. In some clips you can see me paint in real time, and as you can see, it's really slow. I always take my time with my paintings and try not to rush it, which I find very hard when a camera is pointing at me all the time. I think I still have to get used to that. This painting really consisted of blending and blending and even more blending, but after seeing the end result, it was more than worth it. This was my first landscape painting of this kind and I can't complain. Here I finally sketched in the floating islands that got a little lost in the process. And of course, more details that weren't in the reference. I remember struggling with that little platform in the background because I wanted it to look blurry. But after some tweaks here and there and more detailing later on in the painting process, I was finally satisfied. Here I paint the other side of the forest scene. It's basically the same as the one I've painted before, but this one has more of a bluish tint to it. And since you already saw me painting leaves before, let's just skip that part. Now we get to the interesting stuff, finally painting the floaty moss islands. I changed this one later on because the colors were too vibrant for my liking and it was just too prominent. Oh my god, I had so much fun painting these roots, they look so creepy, I love it. Like little arms reaching out. I don't know. I made sure to paint the islands in the distance much lighter than those in the foreground to add more realism. I'm so obsessed with how they look. Cute tiny islands just floating around. Oh, to be a little floaty moss island. After the islands were all done, I started sketching out the moss patches on the ground. I put down the first layer of paint and let it sit for a while. Oh, maybe I should mention that I always use a quick dry medium so the paint is dry to touch after one day. Then I finally painted the mysterious person sitting on the island in the middle. I gave the cloak a dark burgundy color to add some contrast to the whole scene. Now it's time to add some detail to the moss patches. I really like it when moss gets so thick that other species of plants start growing on top of it or out of it. That's why I added some grass to make it look more alive. Now to the final part, painting the skulls. I won't show you the whole process of painting them though, because I don't want to spoil the finished result. At this point, I just want to say thank you so much for watching my painting process, and I can't wait to finally show you the finished painting. It is finally done and I can't wait to show you the finished painting. But before I do that, I need you to subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for future art videos. And this definitely won't be the last video where I paint you suggestions, so make sure to follow me on TikTok as well. Alright, now let me show you the finished painting.